All right, welcome back, Soul Family. I'm the Alchemist, and today I'm going to be going over a presentation that I did on my website a couple months ago called The Mechanics. This will be going over the mechanics of this realm. And I'm doing this as a precursor to my four-part series coming up, where I go over the mechanics of the entire universe and how this coincides with consciousness, and it ties into why out of body experiences are important and how they're even possible, as well as the different layers of this universe. And as I was working on this presentation, I actually found out that this is not I'm not the first person to say that the universe is layered, like it's mentioned in the Quran, and I'm also not the first person to say that we live in a fixed creation. That's also mentioned in the Bible. But I am the first one to do present this mechanics that I'm about to present to you, and I do this because it's really important. I feel like humans, we really associate ourselves with Earth, right? We feel like Earth is where we live. It's our home, but it is not. The other side is home. And to truly understand, the other side, you have to understand how it works and where you come from. So that's what I do. And I do have an upcoming presentation next Sunday, February 15th, where I will be going over the deeper mechanics of the whole universe, how consciousness is able to navigate it, and all of the science behind the universe or the construct, and out of body experiences, the veil of forgetfulness, the firmament, essentially how everything works. I even get into the resets, why resets happen. And then the next week, I have a game of life presentation. And all of this is a precursor to the third week of how to leave your body. Because before you learn how to leave your body, it's very important that you understand what the other side is, how it's made up, and where you came from before you were here. All right. So it's very important. So if you plan on attending, the week 3 on the how to leave your body, I strongly encourage you guys to, I highly encourage you guys to, glitching out. Am I good? I highly encourage you guys to join the prior to workshops. Now, if it's free for all Beyond the Veil members, if you are not a member and the 1-year membership is too big of a commitment for you, there is an option to attend each event individually for $36.99. All right, so let's get into it. So the mechanics of this realm: we live on a flat plane of existence. There is a firmament above us with a black sun, right? So we live on a flat plane of existence. There is a firmament above us, right? And now this is the core of the earth, okay? This is the core of the earth, right? Now, what is this core made out of? It is made out of plasma, all right? Now, oh, I think I'm glitching. Now, it is made out of plasma. And in this firmament, we have the sun, and the moon. All right, let me draw this a little different. We have the sun and we have the moon. All right. Now, this is the basis of where we live in this realm, realm 1, right? So we have a black core that is made out of plasma. The sun and the moon are also plasma, and we'll get into this a little bit later. Now, the core structure of this is all right. So this is the energy source. The black sun is the energy source. This is a big plasma energy source. It's so much bigger than this. It's probably, in relation to the sun and the moon, it's probably this big, if not bigger. Okay. And what happens is energy shoots up from the firmament this way. Oh, this wouldn't be it. It would be more like draw this. So energy shoots up from the firmament, or from the core this way, bounces off, and comes back here. Energy also shoots up this way. Oh, this is how it works. Sorry, guys, it's a little different doing it live. All right. Energy shoots up from the core, both angles, right? And it bounces off the firmament. Energy also shoots up to the top of the firmament as it bounces back down, right? Now, where these two lines intersect is where we get the sun and the moon. This traps the sun and the moon in a essentially an electric circuit orbit, right? And this is where, the Freemasons, this is where they get that symbol. This looks a lot like the Freemason symbol, right? I know you see probably a lot of people doing this type of symbol. This is where it comes from. Okay, this is where it comes from. Now, once we understand that, we can understand the toroidal field. All right, so our flat plane of existence actually looks like this. All right, it actually looks like a CD. There is a hole in the North Pole. All right, now this would be Antarctica. This is the ice wall, or whatever you guys want to call it. There is Antarctica that surrounds us. I don't necessarily know if it's an ice wall per se, but there is ice that surrounds us, right? Now, the core of the Earth is plasma. Now, a characteristic of plasma is it generates, when it's static, if it's just stationary, it generates a magnetic field, right? A toroidal field, very similar to that of a magnet, right? So if you have a magnet with the north and south poles, it generates toroidal fields, a magnetic field like this, right? The Earth does the same thing. This realm does the same thing. So this core generates a toroidal field around this place. Toroidal field, just like a magnet, right? This whole place is based off of frequency, energy, vibration, and electromagnetism, okay? And it's generated by the core. Now, the core is the key. The core is the source of all energy. So what this does, now the sun and the moon are also plasma bodies. The sun is also plasma and the moon is also plasma. Now, what happens when you have two smaller plasma bodies stuck in the magnetic field of a larger plasma body? Well, it creates an orbit, right? So now we have the sun and the moon orbiting around this magnetic field that's created by the core, right? Now, why is this important? This is important because on this flat plane of existence that we live, the only energy source that we can really see is the sun, right? Now, where is the sun getting its energy from? It's getting its energy from the core. So when you go outside and you soak up the energy from the sun, you're actually getting energy from the source of this realm, right? And why is this also important? This is also important because the whole place is just a magnetic energy force field, right? So when you ground yourself to the earth, you're actually grounding yourself to the core of the earth, right? So those two things are very powerful. Now, another big thing in spirituality is astrology, or in the moon phases is a part of that, right? Now, the moon phases is also very important because it corresponds to the energy that's in the core, right? That's in the core of the earth. So this thing expands and contracts. The core expands and contracts. It consistently expands and contracts all the time, right? So when it expands, it creates a stronger electromagnetic field in this place, which then makes the sun orbit closer to the North Pole. And that's when we would have summer in the northern hemisphere. When this contracts, it exerts less energy, and the sun is then freer to rotate around the southern orbit of this flat plane, right? And that's when we would have winter in the northern hemisphere. All right. Now, this is also affects the moon phases. Now, the sun there's different types of plasma. Plasma is the fourth state of matter, right? We have solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Now, as you know, there's different states of solids. There's different states of liquids. There's different state of gases. There's also different states of plasma. The core is one state of plasma. The sun is another another type of plasma, and the moon is another type of plasma. The moon's type of plasma is more of a reflective type of plasma. So it's a reflection of the energy from the core of the earth, right? This is also why there is a map of this realm on the moon. Okay, if you guys have ever gone down that rabbit hole, look up map of the earth on the moon. I'm sure you guys will see it. There's tons of information on there about that. All right. Now, the moon phases work as when it's a full moon, that's when there's a lot of energy being exerted from the core of the earth. That is why we hear people say oftentimes, oh, it's a full moon. The energy here is crazy, right? Well, it is, because there's so much more energy being exerted from the full moon, right? That's when it's time to create. That's when manifestation's easier. That's when it's time to create, right? Now, when it's a new moon, when there's no moon in the sky, the energy from the core is lower, right? That's when it's time to reflect, come in, and stuff like that, right? So this is essentially how this works. Now, also in this model, what explains gravity, right? And the whole purpose of this was to give validity to the claims that I make about the earth being flat, right? Nobody can ever explain how the sun and the moon rotate on a flat earth or anything like that. Well, I did. And this is how it works. I'm 100% certain of this. And the next mechanics presentation this Sunday, February 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's going to be on my website, will add validity to the claims that we live in a layered creation, such as this, a flat plane of existence. Oh, is my marker going bad? A flat plane of existence with layered realms inside. All right. Oh, that's bad. So the next presentation goes into, this is the flat plane of existence with the firmament above it. This is symbolic of the construct. And in the construct, we have layers or realms. So the next mechanics presentation will give validation to this as to why this is true, 100%, backed by physicists, backed by science, backed by my own out-of-body explorations and revelations. And it's very important that you guys understand this, because it adds so much validity. And this also will add, the next presentation will also add validity to out-of-body experiences, because I get into how consciousness interfaces with this reality, this construct, this universe that we are in, by electromagnetism, frequency, energy, and vibration, and magnetism. All right. So how does gravity work in this model? Well, and this can be proven. This is why it really upsets me that in the scientific community, we know unless you can duplicate an experience or a theory, it is not proven. It is just a theory. We cannot duplicate Einstein's theory of gravity, even in a lab-controlled setting. It's so hard to get a smaller mass to orbit around a larger mass, bend in space-time. You can't even duplicate that. And in the sporadic craziness of the universe, that can never happen, right? Well, this can all be duplicated, and this is how gravity works. If you have a more dense object in water, what's going to happen? If an object is more dense in water, what's going to happen? It's going to drop to the bottom, right? If it's more buoyant, it's going to float. Well, density does the sorting here, right? Density is what does the sorting of gravity. Now, what gives us the sensation of down? Well, this core, this magnetic field is what gives us the sensation of down. Similar to a magnet. You're going to stick to the magnet. You know what I mean? You're going to stick to the flat plane of existence. All of this can be duplicated. So I find it very, very hard why this is not easily accepted for people, and this is so hard for people to believe. I understand that it's because, in school we're taught this, and you're taught that you're dumb if you don't believe the science in school. Well, all of the science in school is based off of a theory that cannot even be proven, right? The heliocentric model is based off of a theory that cannot even be proven. So I don't understand that logic there. But yeah, and this is very important. Now, all of the ancients knew this. If you go back in time, we all knew that we lived on a flat plane of existence. There's tons of societies that knew that we lived on a flat plane of existence with the firmament above us, right? Now, this flat plane of existence is actually layered, right? It's layered like a television. There's realms inside of here. If you're familiar with Darius at all, he came to the knowing that there's 12 realms in here, to be precise. Now, the Quran talks about seven heavens, seven layers, but for 100% certain, there is layers in this construct. There is layers or realms, other places of existence within this construct, right? And how are they separated? They're separated by frequency. Just like a television, right? We separate the channels by a certain frequency. That's the same way the realm, this universe or construct works. It's all separated by frequency. And how do you turn the channel on a TV? You turn the channel on a TV with a remote, right? You turn the channel on a TV with a remote. So what's the remote in terms of this universe? Well, the remote is your soul, right? So as you raise your vibration, you change your frequency. That's how you control the remote, because you can only see the channel that you're tuned to, right? And how do you raise your vibration? Through your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, right? And here on earth, we're very dense. So that's why we can only see realm one, right? But as you raise your vibration through your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you can actually begin to perceive more of the light spectrum. And therefore, you can then perceive more of the universe, more of another realm, right? It's kind of hard to do in the physical body. I spent like 6 hours one day just trying to raise my vibration, trying to see, another realm or the other side of the light spectrum. Was a little hard, but out of your body, it's actually pretty simple. And that's how I navigate out of my body. Now, is there any questions on what I've gone over so far? Let's see. Let's give it a minute. So would a rainbow represent the layout of the construct, like how the realms are stacked, colors separated by frequencies? Um, that's a good question. So no, what the rainbow represents. So when I draw the realms stacked like this is just for a visual representation. They actually don't look like this. This is just how I draw it to show that there are layers here. They actually all take up the same space. So you can think of this realm as taking up the entire space. This one is taking up the entire space as well. But what the rainbow actually represents is this. It represents the firmament. It represents light. It represents light from outside. It represents light from outside of the firmament, because this is what gives us the stars and stuff like that, right? It represents light from outside of the firmament, and when the sun light hits a raindrop, this is we'll do when the sun light hits the raindrop. This is pretend this is a cloud and raindrops, right? So when sunlight hits a raindrop, what does that create? That creates a reflection, right? And what are you going to reflect? You're going to reflect what is above you, right? You're going to reflect what is above you. And that's where you get the rainbow shape, because it's reflecting the shape of the firmament. You know what I mean? I hope that clears it up. And you can duplicate this too. You can shine light on a water, and it's going to be a reflection, and it's going to be colorful, and it's going to reflect what's above it in the shape of a firmament. Does each realm have its own dome firmament over it? Now, that's a good question. I believe, and it's kind of hard because out of your body, things can take up the same space, just separated by frequency. It's like really hard to map it out and to make sense of it in human terms. Humans think very logically, right? But it's the best way I can describe it is the other realms is they all take up the same space. So what would that mean? That would mean that we all have the same firmament, right? All the realms have the same firmament. It's just separated by frequency. So when you look into it, it's as if all the realms are here. All the layers of this creation are right in this universe. Okay. Now, when you tune your frequency to a certain when you tune your soul to a certain frequency, you can then see the different realms within here. But one thing that I do need clarity on, and I'm going to try to get this when I leave my body, is now we know that there's an ice wall around us, right? Um, if this was if this was Earth here, if this was Earth, the six continents that we know, this would be Antarctica, and we consider this Antarctica too, right? Now, there's other land out here. Now, what I am confused on, because at first I was under the impression that the whole realm was just under one firmament, but every time I go to Neo Sol, which is located outside of the ice wall, I go through the firmament. So I go through my mirror. Well, sometimes I just appear there, but oftentimes when I get there, I go through my mirror. I set my intention. I go through my mirror, and when I'm in my mirror, the other side of my mirror appears to be the firmament. And how do I know that? Because when I'm in there, it's not just a normal portal. It's like a long walkway that I walk through, right? And I know that there's water on either side of me because I hear it. So it's like I go through my mirror and I'm walking through this tunnel, right? And there's so much immense energy flowing beyond me. Like if you can imagine the strongest waterfall flowing in your ear, like it's some powerful stuff, right? And as I walk through here on the other end of it, my frequency and vibration just like instantly rises. It's like I'm free of all the electromagnetism barriers that are caused by the firmament. So I don't know for sure if there is a bubble specifically just around Earth or not. I need to figure that out still. But yeah. All right. Is the ice wall around the Earth? Yeah, there definitely is. You know, Antarctica surrounds us. So this is what it looks like. So this would be Earth, right? This is the North Pole. This is the South Pole. This is also Antarctica, right? This is the North Pole, and this is Antarctica. So Antarctica does surround us. And how does this work? This was a big thing for me. I was like, okay, if this works, then how can North be North and South be South? Well, if you have a magnet here, all metal will always go towards the middle. If you have a magnet here and you have a compass floating around here, this will always be north, right? So anything opposite the center is south. And you can still circumnavigate the earth east to west. Because one of my friends was a Navy man. He was like, well, I sailed the earth east to west. He said, I sailed around the earth. I said, well, I bet you sailed around the earth east to west, didn't you? He said, yeah. I said, well, this is why. Because guess what? You can go east and west indefinitely. Indefinitely, you know. So Timbo 7873. Oh, Jim Jones. When is the solar flash coming? I don't know that. I don't know that. But the solar flashes, I do know that the solar flashes are important because what it reflects is the energy from the core, right? So when the sun gets its energy from here. A lot of times we view the sun as the source of light, right? But that would be silly. That would be like viewing a light bulb as the source of light, right? And what's the source of light? It's not the light bulb. The source of the light is the electricity from the outlet, from the power plant, right? Well, this is the power plant, right? So this is not the source. So anything that's going on with the sun is a direct reflection of the core, right? So if things are changing, that means that the core is reflecting it, right? And why is this important? This is also going to be, I cover this also in detail in the mechanics part 2 next Sunday. So the core of the earth this is plasma, right? And plasma is the key to obtaining higher frequencies, right? Because this is the fourth state of matter. Nothing is concrete in plasma. So as you enter plasma with a higher vibration, plasma has the ability to shift frequencies or vibrations. This is why this is a portal. This is the key to the higher realms. So as the sun flares happen, what's really going on is the core of this realm that powers this realm. It's creating more energy, more power. So this is when the earth is raising its vibration. This is where we get the blending of the realms, right? So the solar flares are very good because it means that the vibration of this place is rising, you know? All right. Is there a firmament for earth separate from the firmament of the construct? Since then, what you answered previously makes sense. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I know for sure there is a a firmament above us, right? But within here, I don't really know too much of what's going on, because the first time I came back from Neo Soul and I asked to see myself coming back to my body, I knew I was inside the universe, because so it's like this: I was in Neo Soul and I came back in and I was in the universe. Like, say this is my soul in the universe, and what I seen was, say this is my soul in the universe, and what I seen was the realms, and the realms were flashing before my eyes, like this realm, this realm, this realm, this realm. And then when it came time for me to get back to Earth, I seen it as a little bubble. I seen it as a little bubble, kind of like the Nose Confunding maps. Honestly, I seen it. I knew I was inside this universe or this construct because I was seeing the other realms. But when it was time for me to come back into into uh, into Earth, it was shown to me as a little bubble, and this hit me so hard because when I seen Earth as a little bubble, it came back to me as like an instant knowing that, like, damn, everything that I ever known is contained inside this one bubble. Now, I know this entire universe. I know stuff exists outside of this entire universe. I know there's other realms outside of this bubble of Earth. But what I'm about to go back into, where my physical body is just inside this one little bubble inside of this creation. And that's like, and instantly I knew, like, all the stars and stuff that we see in the sky, all the knowledge that humans think we have, it's all contained inside this one little bubble. And it's like a protective barrier, like nothing's really coming in or getting out too much. Like that revelation came to me. And that's kind of how why we're so disconnected from source, right? Because there is a barrier around Earth. So when you're in the human form, it is possible to tap into information, but it's also very hard because it's very limited, because there is an electromagnetic force field keeping the information out from all the other realms and information. There's like a barrier around Earth keeping it out. I know that 100% to be true. Is there a way to get to Neo Soul in human form? Yeah, for sure. There's 100% way to get to Neo Soul in human form, because that's how the humans got there originally. The humans got there originally from escaping these 6 continents and going beyond the ice wall and creating a civilization there. And that is why Neo Soul is so advanced, because they're outside of the resets. Only these 6 continents get reset when there's a great flood and all of that. This is the human experience, the human experiment here in these 6 continents. So anytime you're outside of there, you don't get reset. You can just pretty much develop and blossom as you please. And that's where Neo Soul is. And the humans in Neo Soul would be considered extraterrestrial. And we would perceive them as that because, oh, they're so advanced humans. Well, not really. They're the same as us. They just navigated beyond the ice wall and were able to develop free of resets and things of that nature. Uh, so should we meditate on connecting to the black sun a lot more? Yeah. So I actually meditate a lot. So when I first got into out of body experiences, this is the big thing about meditation. When I first was leaving my body and stuff, I was literally leaving my body all of the time. I was leaving my body so quick because I was meditating so much. I was literally focused on binaural beats connecting my left and my right hemispheres, like the gateway tapes talk about. And my mind and focus was so strong, I was literally able to leave my body in a 5-minute meditation. 100%. Swear to God, I was able to leave my body in a 5-minute meditation. That's how focused I was based on meditation. And then, I found Darius, and he was talking about, oh, you don't need to meditate, and I lost that focus. And I was so upset with myself because, like, I was in such a high state, and then I lost it and started laying down for 2 3 hours. I was like, what? Like, why would I do that? So yeah, meditation is very important. I meditate all the time. So I off every morning, I come out, I ground myself to the core of the earth, and I sit and meditate, and I align my chakras, and I envision a string going from my feet to the core of the earth, right? And I align my chakras at the same time, all the way up to, I then envision a cord from my head going up to source, like going all the way up through the firmament, through everything, right? And that's how I align myself, right? Um, but yeah, I believe meditation is very important. And actually, when I was in my travels, when I was in Denmark, I didn't leave my body for a long period, and I was kind of getting away from myself. And to get back into the out of body state, I actually meditated every day just to gain my focus and mental clarity back, right? Um, and that actually allowed me to leave my body a lot easier. Now I'm leaving my body in like 15, 20 minutes again, on a pretty consistent basis, like 2, 3 times a week. I just had my first out of body experience here in Bali the other day. It was short lived, as I got woken up, but yeah, so I'm leaving my body pretty consistently again, and I attribute that all to meditation and aligning myself with the chakras. And another thing, guys, so since all right, let me see. All right, so since we live, oh, sorry, my marker's a little off. I'm in Bali right now, so my resources are kind of limited as I just got here. So this is the only marker I have. Um, so if we live in a kinetic force field, right? Can you guys see this? Oh, here we go. So this is the flat plane of existence. This would be the North Pole. This is the black sun, and this is the toroidal field, right? This would let's do this again since the marker's working. All right, so all right, before I get too much. So this would be our flat plane of existence. This is the black core, the sun, and this is the magnetic force field that's generated from the core, the toroidal field, right? So if everything in here, this is energy, right? Nothing can it's very hard to get outside of this magnetic force field. The same way it's hard to take your soul out of the body when there's a magnetic field holding it back, right? So what does that mean? That means everything in here is based off of frequency, energy, and vibration, right? So what does this mean? And we only have so much visibility of the light spectrum within this because our soul's frequency is the remote, right? So we can only see so much frequency. But what this means is you have to be conscious of the frequencies being emitted around you at all times. Right now, I have wireless headphones. This is bad. I need to get wired headphones because these are emitting frequency via Bluetooth that messes with my connection, my signal to source, right? Because your brain is just a receiver, right? Your brain is just a receiver of thoughts. Your brain is a frequency receiver, right? And as you elevate your frequency in the physical, you're then able to receive higher frequency thoughts, right? And what can interfere with my connection, right? It's similar to a Wi-Fi router receiving the internet. Your brain would be the Wi-Fi router, and the internet would be source, right? So what can interfere with that connection? Other signals, right? So right now, this is interfering with my connection, right? Turn your Wi-Fi routers off at night. That's interfering with your connection, right? Because if you're here and you're trying to connect, oh, this is bad. Hold on. Let me see. All right, if you are here, if this is you and you're trying to connect with information outside of this force field, what can interfere with it? This is you. You're trying to connect with the infinite, all infinite information at source outside of this realm one reality that we're in. I hate this creation so much, guys. The human experience is my least favorite experience, I swear. But if you're trying to connect with the information from source, your soul records, right? What can interfere with this connection? Other signals within this field, right? So if you have Wi-Fi everywhere, 5G, if you have wired headphones, microwave radiation, all of these signals interfere with your connection to source. Because guess what? If you have a wired headphones right now, immediately off rip, it's disrupting my connection. You see? You see? Oh, thank you, Sif Jensen. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I see you're from Denmark. You must be a Lover friend. Thank you. All right. So, is there any other questions? Yeah, I use Bluetooth too, but it's just but I definitely have wired headphones as well. That's definitely the best thing is to use wired headphones, guys. And download things. Don't use Wi-Fi. Don't use internet. That's the best practice. Obviously, you can leave your body without it. I've been doing it for 2 years, but that is definitely the best practice for sure. Yeah, it's really about focus and low entropy. Yeah, not so much meditation, but um it's just focus and intention is a big one. That's very important. And is the extra knowledge like free flowing in the ether of the other realms? Like if you get to the next realm, do you instantly download new knowledge? All right. So the best way I can explain this, when I go to a new realm, my vibration is just so high and I'm just so ecstatic, and I know I have access to anything. But you still have to seek the answers, like, so you still have to think like, oh, I want to know this, or you still have to ask the question. And this is done basically because if it's not, it will break you. If you just come into it and you just get all this information, it will break you, even in soul form, because it's like overload, because it's like you're remembering too much too quick, and it will break you. And then you can come back to the human body and lose your mind, kind of. So there's like a safeguard in place. So, like, the universe will only present itself what you're ready for. And how do you know you're ready for it? Because you asked the question. So, if it's a question in your brain that you can think of, you can then get the answer for sure, 100%. Because there's questions out there, there's answers out there that I don't even have the questions to yet. Are the Oh, sorry, what was that question? Prop. Are the Neo Soul and Ice Wall beings leaving their bodies to check out the other dimensions? I haven't seen that as much, but based on my understanding, um, people in Neo Soul, they do know about the inner lands. They are aware of the inner lands. Do they leave their body? No, I like to believe that, like, I have a more solid understanding here than anybody over there. I believe I have a better solid understanding of the whole universe than any extraterrestrial in realm two. Maybe not any, but the majority. There definitely are some that have a lot of knowledge, but a lot of the extraterrestrials are just like humans. They're just living their day-to-day life, not asking these questions. They still don't know who the creator is and things of that nature. But there are definitely some advanced races out there that do know. But I like to believe that, leaving my body, accessing higher realms, going back to source and all of that, I like to say that, like, I get a lot more information than a lot of these other beings, beyond the ice wall or in realm two, for example, for sure. As far as semen retention, how did it impact you the most? Does seminal plasma play a role, since as above, so below, to raise your frequency? Oh, that's a good question. I never thought about that. So, how semen retention helped me? First, I just noticed more clarity. Um, when you're practicing semen retention, you because all right, so everything is energy focused here, right? And what you put your thoughts on, you're actually putting a lot of energy in there, because thoughts are physical, right? So when you're thinking about something all day, that brings it into your field. So when you're thinking about things like sexual pleasures, or releasing a load, or whatever you want to call it, that just clouds your judgment, because now that's in your field, right? So that was probably number one, is I was able to think clearly without that. Another thing that I noticed, I had a lot of energy going up my spine. So, like, as I was leaving my body and stuff, sometimes I would feel like a burning sensation, going up my spine. And I just knew, like, that was my life force energy. So I was more able to control and have more energy within me. I was able to manipulate and control my energy more. That's probably the biggest. Now, any real benefits? No, it's all kind of etheric, or like, do I notice any benefits in the physical? No, but what I do notice is thought clarity and things not in the physical, like energy flow and things of that nature, for sure, when I'm practicing semen retention. Please explain the planets. Okay. So the planets have a different function than the stars. All right. So this is this let's pretend these are stars in the firmament and the round things are planets, right? Now, planets are not physical. They are still light just within the firmament, right? However, they do have a different function than the stars. The planets are our clock. They're our astrological clock. When you look up at the sky, don't think of it as stars and galaxies in space. Think of it as a clock, right? As a clock for us. So when these planets they actually rotate at a certain they actually rotate within the firmament at a certain space or frequency or certain a certain loop, right? And that's how you can navigate certain time events that are going to take place here because everything in here is planned. Everything in here, we already know everything that's going to happen in here, and the planets are a good representation of when that's going to happen. It's they're essentially like our clock, right? I do know that. All right. All right. When you first left your body, did you feel a buildup for a week before? Um, no, because I was trying to leave my body for a long time, and the first time I've left my body, this was like before I even knew Darius or like knew what it was. I didn't even know if I could call this an out of body, but now I 100% know it's what it was. But I was leaving my body. I was just leaving it, getting it. I was literally forcing my consciousness out. I was literally forcing my body wasn't shut down or nothing, but I was literally forcing my consciousness out just by the will of my soul. And by doing so, it would be like so strong. Like I would just be laying there 5 or 10 minutes and I would force my consciousness out. And in doing so, it was such a surreal feeling and it was so hard for me to leave. But I will say, the first time um, once I had a more solid understanding of out of body experiences and the other side and stuff, I did prepare and I did feel a sense of, oh, I'm about to have an experience today, a real big one. And that was the first time that I went to Neo Soul. I did have a strong feeling like two days before that. Yeah, for sure. Um, I beatbox and something I've been wondering since our body and vocal cords can create so much sounds. Can we use that to manipulate physical matter? Yeah, essentially, yeah, for sure. That so sound. The spoken word is very powerful, out of body and in body. Um, there is a way. There's a practice. I forget what it's called, but there is a practice where vocal cords. You have like multiple vocal cords in your throat, and when you align those vocal cords together, there is a way to send out deeper vibrations in. I forget what it's called. You can look it up. Maybe look up like vocal cord practice or something like that. But yeah, for sure, you can manipulate energy. But everything that you do here is so hard because everything here on Earth is just a copy of higher realms and dimensions and stuff like that. It's just a copy, and this is the hardest copy. This is the most dense. So like, there's a big time delay. So it would even if you were trying to manipulate matter, it would take immense focus and time to do so because here we're so far away from our natural state, so like our abilities are harder to bring in here. This is the master class. This is the master level of life is Earth because this is the hardest place. This is the most dense. We have a time delay here. Things are very difficult to do here. But yeah, it's definitely possible for sure. And that's the state that we're getting back to. Yeah. Are the Neo Soul and Ice Wall beings leaving their bodies to check out the other dimensions? I believe we already answered that one. Will the end of this construct be the ice walls melting and us connecting with the outer lands and higher frequencies? Um, yeah. So essentially, it would be like this. This is how I see it, right? At this point in time. So, all right. So this is the core, right? And like we just said, with the sun flares, solar flares, and stuff, it's a direct reflection of the energy of the core changing. So, as the core, I don't know if there's one core or 12 cores for all the realms, but what I do know is that the core um, is a reflection of the vibration of this place. So, as this core is rising energy, what's going to happen? the sun's going to have more energy. What's going to happen? This whole place is going to heat up. So naturally, ice is going to melt, right? Also, as this heats up and the energy, the frequency of this rises, it raises the whole vibration of this whole place. And as you guys know, the only difference between the realms is what? Vibration, frequency. So as the vibration of realm one rises, what happens? We can then see the other realms. So this is the blending of the realms taking place, you see? So yeah, yeah. And essentially will rise enough so that all of the realms blend together, and we'll just have one realm in this construct again. That's when everything is open again, you could say. You know, you can still navigate and separate things by different realms, but it'll be much easier. What are some ways your life has improved spiritually, if it did, since leaving your body? Well, this is a good question. And so my life has improved so much because before I was leaving my body, I was getting into manifestation and things of that nature, right? Now, what leaving my body showed me was that shit is real, 100%. Like your thoughts create your reality. All these potential futures and manifestation, all of that is real, right? So it changed that, just knowing that to the truth, just knowing that to my core, that that is true 100%, because now I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. I quit my I just manifested my aerospace engineering job because I was in the matrix, right? I was like, "Ooh, I need money. I need to be successful here," right? So first, when I was leaving my body, I was like, "Oh, actually I don't need money. I just need knowledge." Because I can't take this money with me when I leave here. So the only benefit of me being here on earth is to acquire knowledge that I can take with me when I leave here, because knowledge carries between lifetimes. That is why I'm so smart now, because I have acquired a lot of knowledge in my prior lifetimes, right? That's why things come easy to me here. So that is the only thing that carries with you life after life is knowledge, knowledge that you acquire here. So that is what I'm chasing here is knowledge. And that combined with manifestation, I've created my dream life. I'm living in Bali, cheap as hell. I'm eating for free every day because fruit comes from my Airbnb and I'm on a fruit fast. I'm outside in my kitchen right now, and this is my front yard. You know, you can create the life that you want. I mean, this is essentially heaven on earth. What else, could you want? You know, yeah, I'm with you, but Earth is not flat, bro. Okay, it's not. Whatever you say, my man. So who told you that the Earth is not flat? Right. Let's talk about this. So if you say that, who told you that the Earth is not flat? School, right? Books. Okay. And Einstein's theory of gravity is false. It doesn't even work in a controlled environment. Einstein's theory of gravity does not work in a controlled environment. And Einstein's theory of gravity is the whole basis of the heliocentric model. The whole space system that you believe in is based off of Einstein's theory of gravity, and that cannot even be duplicated in a controlled experiment. So that is where your basis of space comes from, my friend, and that is wrong. But okay. Um, so the ice wall must be around our six continents. Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. What's loosh? I don't know. That's a Robert Monroe thing. I don't know what loosh is. I haven't seen anything like that. How many aspects of you can be currently in parallel realities time in this creation? How to collect them to your soul? Is this true? It was said by Bruce Monroe. All right, so advanced souls do have the ability to split their consciousness up in different places. This is true in this universe and outside of other universes. However, when you're in human form, I'm under the belief that 100% of your soul is here right now, because when I leave my body, I am 100% in my soul. Like I don't have no recollection of my soul doing anything else. But I will say though, I am under the strong belief that when we're sleeping, our souls can live a whole nother life. Because I one time I did not sleep for like 2 weeks straight. I was training my consciousness to be aware, and my soul was like fueling my body at that time, and I was out all the time doing crazy stuff. So I really believe that like we can have another life while we're here. Through when our physical bodies are sleeping here, your soul can definitely be out, doing stuff for sure. But yeah, you can essentially shift when you're outside of Earth. You can definitely, in soul form, you can definitely split your consciousness up in different ways. You can have a whole construct with experiences with just yourself. Yeah. Have you heard about the Earth Rift on February 18th? No, I have not. I'm very out of touch with the world, guys. I don't do anything besides myself. I don't even listen to anybody else other than myself anymore. Like nobody. I'm very out of touch. Will the end of this construct be the ice walls melting and us connecting with it? Oh, we already answered this one. Oh, I seen a question about Ibn Diobi with Bam. Uh, so yeah, what happened to I Ben Diobi with Bam? Yes, actually, me and Bam are in fact coming back together with I Ben Diobi. We're gonna be doing a live next week. I just had to get this live with Propagate This Light. My guy Propagate This Light. He does a good job on these, so I had to collaborate with him first. And then next week, me and Bam will be going live as a I Ben Diobi precursor. And then after that, we actually have our first guest, which is Lova, my partner. She's another out of body explorer, so we'll have her on explaining her experiences. I have about two other out of body guests coming on after that. So yeah, there'll be weekly episodes now, guys. Along with me doing weekly things, hosting weekly things on my website, I will also be hosting weekly lives on YouTube with Bam. In the I Ben Diobi podcast, highlighting others that are leaving their bodies, extraordinary in-body experiences, or any near-death experiences. That will be weekly on YouTube moving forward, along with on my website. I'm hosting a 4-part series every week for the next 4 weeks, and I may continue this as well every week, for sure. Andre, has your physical health also improved? Did you manage to heal your vessel in case it was ill via energy? Any tips, focus, intention? Right? Yeah. Yeah. So when I first got into out of body experiences, I was very overweight. I was like 300 pounds. I was like 300 pounds. Now I'm under 200. All right. And I would be better off, but I was just in Denmark in the wintertime and very stagnant and in a small place for like 3 months. So like I wasn't as active and stuff, but for sure being in Bali, my physical body will definitely be healthier. And I mean, from the out of body state, yeah, when you come back in your soul and your soul's frequency is so high, yeah, that heals your body, right? Because your soul's frequency is so high, and frequency can heal everything, right? It's like your energy just comes back and you're just like changing shit. Everything becomes easy. That combined with, the knowledge that I picked up here. Look up Dr. Sebi, look up Yake Awakened. These guys describe how to eat healthy here for sure. And if you just eat your diet is everything. Because think about it, your thoughts and your diet, your thoughts and your actions create your reality. Okay, so what does this mean? Your thoughts and your actions create your reality. This is also true for your physical body. So if your thoughts and your actions create your reality, if you're thinking you're sick, you will create the sickness within you. And what's an action that you can do for the body? Eating, putting things into your body, right? So your thoughts and your actions create your reality. If you think positive, if you just assume you're okay all the time, you will be okay. And as well as you do positive actions to your body, like eating healthy, a more fruit-based diet, and not no fried foods. Don't go out to eat to a fast food restaurant. Like that's crazy. Just cooked whole one ingredient foods and stuff like that. That's the best action you could take on your body, as long as with like stretching, a little physical exercise. Thoughts and actions create your reality. That's the number one way I heal my body. Yeah. Can I make a video on what my personal manifestation technique is? I kind of did that. How to create your reality instantly. That's on YouTube. And I also just did a video that's being released. I think it's Wednesday, about the matrix, how to exit that, what the matrix is and how to exit it, right? And how to step back into your ultimate power and remember who you are. It's probably one of the most transformative videos I ever did. Like I got chills as I was recording it. That's coming out this Wednesday. But I kind of already did the manifestation thing, how to shift your reality instantly. And I talked about stuff. How do you draw the line between the realms and the other continents? Which is which? Oh, that's easy. Okay. So, all right. So picture this being our flat plane of existence, right? This corner of it would be Earth, our 6 continents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia, right? That's these. Now, the land beyond the ice wall would be here. right? And this is all within a construct, right? Imagine this being the firmament. I know this is a crazy representation, but so once you understand that, right, all of that is going on here, right? So we have Earth and other lands here, and this is the firmament, right? Now, the realms take up that same space that I just showed you with the six continents of Earth and beyond the ice wall. That takes up this flat plane of existence. Now, all the other realms take up that same physical space, just separated by frequency. I draw them like this, but really they all take up the same space. You see? So yeah, that's the best kind of explanation that I can say. I hope that helps you. Do we all share the same moon and stars and sun in each realm? I'm gonna say no. We do not. No. There's different suns and moons. Yeah, no. Even there's even other suns here in this realm beyond the ice wall and stuff. There's even other suns here. What would happen if someone circled the Earth from north to south? Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. Why do you think they tell you guys? Why do you think they tell you guys? Oh, the North Pole is just ice. Don't go there, right? You can't even go north. Just the same way you can't go south, south. So, you can't go to Antarctica. Like that, you literally cannot fly beyond a certain latitude line. So, say this is the ice wall. Beyond a certain latitude line, there's no flights allowed. You cannot fly there. Same with the North Pole. No flights can fly directly over the North Pole. And if you go to the North Pole, you will. This is like a portal, and this is why the Northern Lights are so big, right? Because the Northern Lights, there's a hole here, and from the core, here, let's erase this, right? All right, so this is our flat plane of existence. This is the core. It generates a toroidal field around here, right? And everything in here is frequency, energy, and vibration, right? So this is why we see the northern lights in all the colors, right? Because the core is emitting energy. And where is the energy coming from? The North Pole, right? That's where it comes up. And that's just why we are able to see the magnetic field so clearly and so visible in the north, right? So yeah, you would. What's the craziest, most profound being you've ever encountered out of body? Me, outside of everything, for sure. How did we end up here in the Earth realm? Did we come down through each layer of the realm? Since Earth is the hardest realm, the 12th must be the easiest. Yeah, so the 12 realms kind of happen in sequence, right? Like realm 11, realm 10 was made in the image of realm 11, realm 9 was made in the image of realm 10, realm 8 was made in the image of realm 9, all the way down to realm 1, right? So in the sequential sequence, realm 1 is the last one, but you don't necessarily have to go through all the other realms to come here. You can certainly come here, and you see this in divide and consciousness. Like if you ever see a low conscious being here, it's like, yo, you're just not, you just haven't been to the other realms yet, or something like that. Yeah. So there's definitely a huge divide of consciousness here. Yeah. So negative collective consciousness is keeping us trapped in the lower frequency. So the firmament of valid forgiveness is the collective consciousness. No. So collective consciousness, you can think of this as a consensus reality. Our thoughts create our reality, right? So when a collective consciousness is constantly thinking of something and they all believe something, that creates our reality. So that's what we experience here, right? But what the firmament really does is it blocks information from outside here. Let's say this is source. The firmament keeps information and light out. And this is generated by the toroidal field here as well, generating the information. So the firmament keeps this a contained thing, but the information is really generated from this toroidal field. So this magnetic field is what keeps the vibration a certain level. And it also, so these two combined keeps the information from source from getting in here as easy. Seen that one is being grounded a good electric source, a good electric principle. Yeah, that's what I preach. So ground yourself to the earth, and helps to conduce electricity. There's electrons in the earth. Your body is electromagnetic. You get energy from the sun. If you do those things every day, it will help conduce electricity. It will help awaken your abilities within you. Yes, all of that is very true. And eat things with electricity in them, like fruit. When you went back to your first thought, what did you learn about creation and what we are as creator beings? Yeah, so when I went back to my first thought, it was like, okay, so imagine being in complete darkness and hearing nothing. And then all of a sudden you become aware. You're like, oh, I exist. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you start feeling things, like then you start feeling frequency and energy in your body, like good feelings. And you're like, oh, I feel stuff. And then you're like, oh, what can I do with this? You're like, what can I do with this? Right? Like, okay, I'm aware, I have consciousness, and I feel stuff, but like, what can I do with it? And then you just create stuff. And then I just envision, I just like kind of like took on the form of like a human body in soul form, right? Took on the form of like a physical body because I was like, I wanted to walk, touch, and see things, right? So that's why it's when in your mind you create the image of a human body. That's why the human body is like the natural template of things, right? My first thought wasn't, oh, I want to be a fire breathing dragon. It was you look like a human, right? And then after that, what the biggest thing was, everything in here was a thought form. That's when I came. That's when I said that the entire, after that experience, that's when I came up with the idea that, oh, the entire universe, this construct, is just a manifested thought form. This is a collective manifested thought form from other souls. Everything in here. And then I had the perspective like, oh wow, I thought, who created this universe? It's so big, it's so great and so grand. Who can put the sun in the sky? Well, when you're a god and an almighty soul, and you can do anything, it's really all not that great or hard to do it. You can just set your intention and say, oh, I want the sun in the sky and I want it to orbit and create seasons, and put it, oh, let's put a magnetic force field around it with the core. You just say stuff, and it kind of just happens and creates. So that was another realization of mine, that as humans, we think the universe is so big and so grand and such an amazing creation. And it is, from a human perspective, it is. But from a God perspective, I mean, it's not all that difficult. But this is definitely a great, grand creation. This is like the greatest creation ever created. It's very intricate, very intelligently designed. I'm not taking nothing away from that. Like, this universe is massive. And another thing that I'm learning is that, and so in, say this is realm one. Well, in realm one, Darius calls these dimensional spaces, right? There's tons of dimensional spaces, but I don't really. It's like, okay, well, what is a dimensional space? But what I've come to find out is these are actually fucking entire universes within realm one, but they're just bound to the same conditions as realm one. So when I say a dimensional space, you can come out in a dimensional space and it can be as big as the entire realm one. It's so there are other realities within this realm. All right. There's other realities within this one realm. There's other people living lives. I mean, not human lives, but like soul lives. Like, there's people living in realm one and other realities in realm one that have the same type of templates and restrictions as realm one, like density, time, and stuff like that. But there's other realities within realm one. And the same goes for every other realm. So, like, these dimensional spaces can take up the entire realm, and it can be a shared reality where other beings are living. I'm going over this in week 3. I'm going over this in week 3 of the trifecta presentation. So week 3, which would be like March 8th, maybe, or March 9th. And the how to leave your body and navigate the other side, and things I've seen on the other side and things I've came to uncover. I'll be going over this in detail in that. And the option to register for that is on my website. All right. Is there multiple firmaments on Earth, and is Earth bigger than what we think? Um, so that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if there's multiple firmaments, but Earth is definitely bigger than we think. Earth is huge. Even the physical Earth is huge because there's more land than we've been told. It is huge. The whole universe is huge. Like I draw it like I draw it like this, right, and make it seem small, but the whole universe is huge, right? Because think about it, all of Earth is big. If Earth is bigger than what we think, and this is realm one, and I just said that there's other dimensions in realm one alone. There's infinite numbers of dimensions in realm one alone. All right, and then you go to realm two, realm three, realm four, realm five. There's infinite dimensions in those as well. This is the hugest fucking place I've like. It's huge. It's huge. And then outside of here, it gets even bigger because then there's more universes. Everything is bigger than we can ever imagine, for sure. What's the firmament made of? I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen that. The closest thing at this time that I could think it would be like the sky ice found in Antarctica, maybe. Why would they have to lie about the Earth being round instead of being flat? Because when you find out who you are, so space takes you further away from the truth, right? When you think that you're in a never-ending, expanding universe, you're like, oh, okay, you seem so insignificant. As soon as you find out that you're living a creation, everything becomes true. They really wanted to take you away from religion and go to science, right? For a control structure. They wanted to take you away from the truth of your soul and think with your logical mind so they can depower you and make you control workers, right? How do you do that? By telling people that we don't live in a creation. Because as soon as you find out you live in a creation, what's the next question you ask? Oh, who created it? If I live inside of a fixed place with a creation, who is the guy that created it? And who put me here? And wait, so if I'm in it, I must exist outside of it too, right? It unlocks everything. That's why. Because once you find out you live in a creation, it unlocks everything. Then you're like, oh, this is all a game. I see, you know. But as long as you believe in space, you don't have those realizations. All right. How did we end up here in the Earth realm? Did we come down through? Oh, we answered this already. Do people have access to your own heaven, or can you make it private like your house? Yeah, you can make it private. You can block it off. Yeah, you can essentially do everything you want. Yeah, yeah, you can block it off. Is there? Um, we answered this one. So in a sense, each realm can be seen as its own unique channel, although everything displaying is yeah. If all realms were to synchronize together, what would happen? Well, that's when we would have heaven on earth. I think that's where we're headed to. Is when we talk about the Great Awakening and things like that. I believe that's where we're headed to, where all realm was this whole place is shared as one realm, or something of that nature. It's a lot more complicated than that, but more or less that's kind of what would happen, right? And it would still be based on your vibration. So even if all realms were in the one place, you would still only be able to see things based on your vibration, but you would literally be able to raise your vibration to access a higher realm. Yeah. Astral and dreams to be dimensional spaces, synchronous with time, as thoughts and time are intertwined. How in the OB can you tell you're not in an astral space? Um, so when people say the astral, I call that just a less conscious out of body experience, right? You're just less conscious because I can be in an astral projection state and I can bring my consciousness fully there to be in a full blown out of body state. But I believe what you're asking is how do you know if you're in a dimensional space or base reality? Well, when you come out of my body, sometimes I'm in a place where there's a consensus reality where it's like a mirror of this world, but it's got everybody's thought forms in here. An example of this is I was just in my room. I had an out of body the other day, and when I came out, I seen a TV in the room, right? So that's probably my Airbnb host thoughts saying, "Oh, I want to put a TV there," right? That's his thought form. So that's in the dimensional space of like it's like a shared space of every human's thoughts here, right? So that's a dimensional space. But you could just navigate it, man. Like once you realize that there's dimensional spaces and base realities in each realm, you can navigate it, and just be like, oh, okay, well, set your intention. Say, I want to be in base reality, or say set your intention. Say, I command to be in base reality. Or if you navigate something and it's a shared space and there's other beings all there navigating and stuff, and there's a core truth, yeah, that's how you know. You'll know for sure after a while. How high is the firmament? That I don't know. That's just like a human, measurement. I don't know. I can't go up there and measure it. You know. Why would anyone ever want heaven on earth? I want to leave this place now and forever. Yeah, it's just the object of this game, man. And once you're outside of your human body and this human vessel and this control structure, it's not that bad, honestly. Like once you realize that you're an eternal soul, it's honestly not that bad, and it's still a fun place to be. It's very fun, once you get outside of the restrictions here in realm one and stuff like that. It's a very fun place to be. Have you unlocked any extrasensory abilities, telepathy, telekinesis? You don't have to reveal them, just a simple yes. Yeah, I have. But they do fade over time, I've realized, because I don't. So these abilities, it's like when they come, but like after a big OBE, I may unlock something and then they'll come. And then, like, if I don't use it or practice it, it will fade away. As well as like when I eat food here, like say I eat out one night and I want to get French fries one day, right? Well, that can limit myself, right? Or if I have a too low vibrational conversation with somebody and it puts me too deep back in my human thought forms, that limits me. I found out that you really have to free your mind to unlock these things. You really have to break all your belief systems to unlock these things. That's part of the reason why I had to quit my job, because working in the aerospace industry, it made me think in a box, right? It made me think inside the lines, and like to do these things you have to think outside of the lines, to even be able to grasp creation and to unlock these things. You really have to step out of your human mind to do these things, because the human mind is nothing but a limitation, nothing but another distortion. So yeah. Is this realm actually holographic? I'm gonna say no. It's based off of light, and light is physical. Like this microphone has light in it. It's just light vibrating at a certain frequency, so it can appear physical, and I can touch it. Right? That in relative to my personal vibration, that's why it's physical. So no, it's just more of a light prism matrix. But light is also physical. So no. When you feel the vibrations before you experience during the days coming up, it'll be sometimes, what are you feeling? Is there specific signs to look for? No, it's just an inner peace, an inner knowing. Sometimes you may feel like peace coming over you, or like just a strong connection, and you'll end up having an out of body that night. I often tell people the biggest thing for an out of body is just knowing that they're possible, and just knowing that they're possible at any given time. An out of body experience can spark off for you. Or if you're in a timeline and you want to get out of it, well, all right, sit, think, meditate how you want to break that timeline, and then just do it and act on it. Think on it and then act on it. Yeah. Is meditation and being the I am the only way to save ourselves? No, no. I would say the best way to save yourself is to break all belief structures here, free your mind, and know that you are your ultimate authority. Just knowing that to your core is enough to save yourself. This is what I'm getting into in the video that's being released Wednesday. It's called The Matrix and How to Break Out of It. That's a very serious one, and that's probably the best way to save yourself. Yeah. Is any culture nationality that is galactic in realm one? I heard the Asian culture had great. Yeah, we all have. Yeah, every race has alien connections. Like realm one is made in the image of realm two. So yeah, yeah. What's up, my man? What's up, my guy? So isn't the goal to leave this earth realm? No, the goal is not really to leave. Why would the goal be to leave? Why would the goal be to leave this earth realm? We already answered that one. Do you have to build your soul body in order to exit the body, or is it already there since we leave our bodies every night? No, you don't have to build your soul body. No, that's some stupid nonsense. All you got to do, as soon as you're out, you don't have to build anything. You can command your clarity. William Bowman says this: clarity now. Like no, you don't have to build anything. That's a myth. I hate when people say that stuff. No, you may come out and you may not be physical, or you may not have all your clarity, but you can just command it. You're in your soul. Anytime you're out of your body, whether in an astral projection state or anything, anytime your consciousness is outside of your body, you're interfering with a portion of your soul. The only thing after that is to just bring more of you there. How do you do that? Concentration, commands, all that. Yeah. No, you don't have to build nothing. You can bring it there for sure. I got to the vibration phase where I saw yellow, white, and gold vibrations or frequency, and I felt like I was getting electrocuted. Do you have any of the clairs, like clairvoyance? Um, yeah, you get very high vibrations and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know what you mean by clairvoyance. But don't east or west flights in the southern hemisphere take similar duration to the northern hemisphere? How is it possible if the south is the perimeter of a plane? Um, I don't know exactly what you're saying, but I think what you're saying is this. Um, so say this is the equator. So say this is the Antarctica, this is the equator, this is the North Pole. This means that flights here to here will take longer than a flight in the southern hemisphere. It's much bigger than it is. That's why flight paths are delayed. Anytime you fly in the southern hemisphere, you'll be very aware that the Earth is flat because flight paths will not line up how they should. That's why if to get here to here on a globe, this would be close. But then you end up flying north, and you're like, what? Why the hell would you do that? Um, yeah, it's a physical thing. Yeah, that's where the Milky Way comes from. It's a crack in the firmament. That's why more light is coming through. This is not our first time here. Which realms am I yet to travel to? I haven't been to a lot of the realms. I've been to the Seraphim realm a couple times, the Heavenly realm, realm 3, realm 2, but that's really it. Yeah, I haven't been to them all. I don't even know. It's very hard to even like know where you are a lot of times, or like how to navigate unless like you ask or you're brought there. It's so massive. But what I will say is that a lot of times when people leave their body and they talk about meeting light beings and things like that, I'm under the impression that they're outside of the universe, because like everything here is physical in this universe. Like everything is pretty physical. Like there's not really like light beings just floating around. Like everything's pretty physical here. What practice would you strongly recommend? The astral projection, just becoming lucid, and like just setting your intention at night, going to sleep, and you know, going to sleep and saying, um, I will be fully conscious and aware when I leave my body tonight, over and over and over again, and just setting your intention to become aware throughout the night. It's a good place to start. We answered this one. What do I think about karma? For example, if you were an abusive parent in a previous lifetime, could you experience the other side of that here? Yeah, yeah, for sure. You know, and it's not like karma, like it's a karmic debt. It's like your soul choosing to experience that type of thing, you know? Um, yeah, for sure. You can have an experience in one lifetime and then come here and switch roles with somebody and say, okay, now let me experience it this way. Yeah, yeah, for sure. But guys, I'm probably gonna get out of here in a little bit. And I just want to say that so this live was good, but next Sunday, I do have a mechanics part two presentation that goes over the inner mechanics of the entire universe, and this lays the foundation to out of body experiences and navigating the other side because you have to truly understand where you are and how it works, right? So it's a layered system. I get into the veil of forgetfulness. I get into um, a bunch of stuff. The veil of forgetfulness. What else do I get into? How consciousness separates the body. How this is scientifically proven. How binaural beats work. Everything, basically the entire background to everything that you need to know before even trying to leave your body, why it works, how the universe works, where, how it's separated, how frequency controls it, how plasma acts as portals, how portals work, how the universe works, how out of body experiences work. It's basically a foundation to everything. And once after this, like you'll have all the tools to like know where you are. And then the next week, I'll be getting into the game of life because before you try to leave your body, it's important for us to understand where we were before we came here and how this life works, right? So for there, I talk about picking life paths or soul contracts, whatever you guys want to call it. I talk about the veil of forgetfulness, how that works, picking characters. I talk about how this human life is set up, and even before in other realms and things like that. Basically, everything that I've came to know to be true about this place. And then after that, so once we understand the mechanics of this place, of the universe, and how out of body experiences work and things like that, and how all of this is scientifically proven, you don't need any faith. This is no faith. This is all scientifically proven that the consciousness can leave the body, right? Um, and then after that, I get into every way I have left my body. I have left every which way, every technique that I have used to leave my body ever, right? And then um, and I will also get in the third week, I also get into how I navigate the other side, things I've seen, what it looked like. This is when I will get into consensus realities, how I found out there's a mutual shared dimensional space here, and how I came up with that. And then the fourth week, I get into Egypt Unveiled and what Egypt looks like now versus what it looks like in the out of body state with physical proof and things of that nature. Um, so yeah, guys. So thank you guys very much for joining me here today. I appreciate all of you guys, and let's continue the remembrance together. All right, and thank you, Propagate This Light, guys. If you didn't know, this was a shared collaboration with me and Propagate This Light. The link to his channel is pinned at the top of the live comments. Show him some love. He does a great job at hosting these things for sure. Um, and yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, so that's all I have, and I'm the Alchemist, and I'll see you guys on the other side.